Surfs up, everybody. Chat, say hi to YouTube. The tier list is going to incorporate it's only 2024. We have had 6 months thus far of 2024, okay? We're on June 25th. It is the player break. What we've had in the season, events that really matter. The Major, Katowice, IEM Dallas, the Blast Spring Finals.
That everyone dreams about. Make your dreams come true on Skin Club.
I'd say those are my 4 biggest events. The biggest obviously being the Major. That's going to have the greatest point value here. The second highest is IEM Katowice. It is a prestigious event with a lot of history behind it, even though people like Sense might say it doesn't matter to him. Well, Sense, I don't know if you're going to say any event ever matters to you if you're going to keep playing the way you do and calling the way you do. Okay, moving on. IEM Dallas and the Blast Spring Finals, I put those on a similar level. They were both in arenas. They both had big crowds. They both, to me, had competitive enough formats into getting into that top 6, top 4, where there was a lot of value behind it. So I rate that one very highly too. Some people might say that the Blast Spring Finals only had 8 teams, but the Blast group stage is the spring groups. It is the showdown, okay? That all of that stuff incorporates in one single package. It's just that Blast run their format in chunks like that because taking that much of the calendar is difficult. And so this is just kind of like by virtue of the fact that they can't get 15 like 20 days straight. Okay, you don't want to get 20 days straight, but it all culminates in the Blast Spring Finals, which to me has a lot of value. Okay, so we're gonna start it off the way I start off every tier list. Okay, I put somebody in the S tier, the C tier, and the F tier. Okay, that's how I kick this off. By the way, some of these names at the very bottom I will not be getting to. I am stopping at Sin. Sin is the last name that I will be going through as I work my way through this entire tier list, okay? So, and this is making a point, okay? Chopper, who had the best overall season, by my standards, is not an S tier IGL. Aleksib, who won the Major with an underpowered Na'Vi lineup, also made it to the grand finals of the Blast Spring Finals, is not an S tier IGL. karrigan, arguably the GOAT IGL for this season, was not an S tier IGL. There are no S tier IGLs this year. The best we will get is A+. And so, Chopper, having an incredible T-side, having one of the highest round win percentages on T-side overall, he will occupy the A+ tier. He outcalled Na'Vi at the Blast Spring Finals on Anubis, played with their rotations, consistently has very strong T-sides. The problem with giving Chopper so much credit that he would be an S-tier in-game leader is that he's got the best entry fragger in the world. He's got the 4th best player in the world and the 2nd best opper in the world in Shiro. These people are monsters on T-side. Zontix is an incredible lurker in his own right, very good clutcher. Chopper himself is a very strong player. So when you have pieces that strong, if you were to attain an S-tier position, you would need more trophies. I would need another trophy if you won the Major, or if you made it to say like the grand finals of it. If you won, even like an ESL Pro League would have boosted him up, but he didn't win that. He lost to Vitality in the semifinals of Dallas. He lost to FaZe in the quarterfinals of the Major. At the Major itself, they had a choking problem. They had a problem with putting their nerves together, and also the veto there before I had him in the last IGL tier list. I had him in the A tier because the Veto Wing hurt his team so much that instead of playing their second best map in Ancient, which they had the option to, they played their sixth best map in Vertigo because they thought it was a punish pick to FaZe, which they lost on and they choked on. So there's some holes in his resume right now as an in-game leader. That being said, he's still A+. He's just not S, okay? Now moving on to C tier. C tier IGLs are doing more or less what they're supposed to with the pieces that they have. They aren't overachieving. They aren't failing expectations. And I see one guy who, there was a lot of buzz around him. He's donning a jersey that was once worn by a guy that didn't enter the pantheon of in-game leaders. One of you guys in chat already got it. But hasn't really delivered upon lifting the pieces beyond what they are supposed to achieve. It's kyxsan. kyxsan is just a basic C tier in-game leader to me. At the very beginning, there was a little bit of hype for Heroic. They took down a couple teams that we didn't expect. Vitality at IEM Katowice. But really after that, haven't really shown too much of anything. They've kind of actually flopped out of a couple of tournaments at this point. But I don't look at their team and I'm not necessarily blown away by the pieces that he has. And also, by the way, Dexter is just getting back into tier 1 competition again. Okay, like there's no way I'm gonna I'm not gonna hold that too hard against kyxsan that Dexter has to reacquaint himself with what it's like to compete at that level. But I'm also not looking at Tess's, Shush, and the rest of the team and thinking to myself whoa, that's going to be sick. Nertz being the other guy. Nertz is a great player and he should be their best player overall along with Dexter. Nertz was lifted above what he was with Snappi when he was playing with him on ends. I don't necessarily always think that Nertz is the most complete game all the time, always knows what to do in every situation, was not only a strong player in his own right, but also a product of a great Snappi system. So I just have kyxsan right in the C tier. I think kyxsan has a strong likelihood to ascend to the higher tiers over time, but he's not there for me yet. Now, F tier. Okay, we have a lot of names to choose from. By the way, reminder, I am stopping at Sin. I'm not rating anybody past that because they just haven't done enough this season that I've either seen and I've not collected enough data for them. So here, I think it's important now to consult the list of people that are underperforming for what they have. There is a team that is right there that are getting absolutely bodied. So here was my CT versus T. So essentially what my list shows that's different than Bob Babinski's is that I'm just purely looking at their CT side versus their T side and the difference between the CT and T. And the bigger the delta here, that means their CT side is much better than their T side, okay? So what's funny about this is that I saw a few of you guys saying Snappi. I don't think Snappi has the pieces this year to necessarily put together a great T side. And if you actually look at these T side win rates for the year thus far, guys, he's middle of the pack for a T side win rate. And the CT side is abysmal. It's abysmal. No. You guys are actually conflating how bad Falcons are with blaming it purely on Snappi's calling on T side. Look at the delta. Snappi's T side is actually getting more out of it than any other CT side that is bad. So pump the brakes on the Snappi hate right now and think about another Danish in-game leader. The CT side of Liquid is a 53% win rate, and yet the T side falls off to a measly 47% win rate. Okay? That's bad. That's bad calling. That's bad calling right now. And if you look at actually Bob Babinski's, this is based off of the maps. So the expected round win percentage based off of the maps that they're playing. So some of these teams, by the way, some of these teams are getting boosts because they're actually playing maps that are very T-sided. And so this takes that into account. Still, Liquid is at the bottom of the list. This team did not come together at all. I think that cadiaN, in the course of history, has been a great in-game leader. A great one. He's not in the pantheon for me, but he's been a great overall in-game leader. But for the 2024 spring season, cadiaN has undoubtedly been very bad. He has been very bad. Very bad. That team has not only do the numbers back it up, but the fact that he has been benched by his team with seemingly differences between him, Twist, Naf, and Yakindar, who seem to be the core three that Liquid are moving forward with. They would rather play with each other versus playing with cadiaN. Sin has, to me, put forward a much better face than what he had on Big. With Big, I thought he was the weakest player on Big. all honesty. I saw him make a lot of individual mistakes. I saw him jumping through smokes in the air when he probably should have just tapped the bomb. I saw some moments that were so awkward for Sin. I was like, and he was also in 2vx situations, the first guy to ever move away from his teammate. He would always move away. His instinctual response to being in a late round situation was to not try to trade and play with his teammate. It was to move away, but he's had a bit of a redemption. I've liked what M80 has looked like in what they did at ESL Pro League at some of the qualifiers where they were taking down Liquid. And for the fact that really the only player that to me is like really, really, really unbelievably good on the team is Mobs. I think what they did at some of these events was very impressive. I'm actually moving Sin up to B tier. I actually think Sin has had a really good season for himself, really proved a lot. And I think that the upcoming half of the year is going to say a lot more about Sin. When you lose your star rifler, what can you accomplish now that Mobs is no longer there? Beating G2 on LAN, I think that was very impressive. He's going to go there. He's going to go C+. I might... Is this good color difference? Yeah. Okay, so C+. I'm putting Sin in a category above kyxsan. For what he has accomplished this season with the pieces that he has, I'm putting C+ on that one. Aleksib. Also, if I'm grading what I have seen in the totality of 24 thus far, in terms of ranking teams by their seasons thus far, let's look at the world rankings. The team with the best 2024 so far has been Spirit. The team with the second best to me has been, I'd say, FaZe. I actually think Navi's 2024 has been arguably better when I really think about it. Because winning the major is just trumps all of this by such a large margin. It actually does. It's such a huge achievement over them. And grand finals of this, I mean, I would say this. They had basically a similar, well, they did worse at Dallas than FaZe, which doesn't count too hard against them. At Pro League, they finished one spot beneath FaZe also, which lightly counts against them. But then they won the major, which is the most important thing. And spring final that's a second place that's like not as good as a Kato second place, but it's still pretty good. Oof. Either way, we're ranking IGLs here. And what is Aleksib getting out of the pieces that he has right now? Well, let's consult this. So for the CT side of Navi on this, they have a 49% win rate on their CT side thus far this year, and their T side jumps up to 52.3%. Adjusting for the fact that on certain maps they are playing some T-sided maps, they still have a good overall win rate. They, in fact, per map, both of these teams have the exact same in terms of round win percentage to the delta of the average of the maps. They had to me some of the best T sides out there. Both these guys got it done on a big stage, on decent stages, I'd say. Decent stages. For me, as it stands for the season, Aleksib is A+. Okay? Aleksib is A+. Winning the major just counts for so much. Spring Finals appearance shows that maybe the major was a fluke in the sense of winning it all, but they are still a competitive team, and they did that with some great T-sides. They lost to Falcons and Kato. Again, no one's S tier. No one's S tier. If they made it to the playoffs... And if they made it to the grand finals of Kato, say, and lost to Spirit there, I might have put Aleksib in S tier. But some of the other runs were very, very tough for them. It's the Blade Aleksib system. I am grading them based off of the Coach IGL combo because I can't reasonably differentiate between how much the Coach and the IGL are putting into this, okay? Tabsen missed the major, now playing with a pretty awkward team overall. Like, siuhy is one of the weaker operas in Tier 1. If I look at Big right now, the delta is not favorable for Big, okay? This has been a bad season for them. They're not really making it to the big events, but they're still hovering around the 16th ranked team. Of the people, if I were to move on with Big right now, I would think about I would keep tabsen, I would keep JDC, I would 100% keep Crimbo. But Prosus and siuhy both they're having some difficulties. They're having some difficulties as individual players. siuhy is like I said, he's one of the weakest operas right now in this ranking list. Like, guys, this is really bad. This is against all opponents, by the way. I didn't put any filters. If I put top 50, it's worse. If I put top 30, it's worse. I don't think you could have a strong semblance of a winning team if you have an upper, like literally rank him versus any of these guys. Every single team above Big in the rankings has a better opera than Sursen, and some of the teams beneath Big have better operas than Sursen. Wrinkle's better, Zorte's better, I wouldn't say Alistair's better. I would say Safe is better. I would say Afro. Guys, Afro's not great. He is better than Sursen in 2024. He is better than Sursen. Okay? Deco is better. And so to even be 16th ranked above some of these teams that have flat out better operas is kind of impressive, but I'm still not going to give tabsen too many points for that right now. This is 2024 and what they've done. Okay? So tabsen for me, he's fallen down quite a bit. And the reason that he's not F is that tabsen himself is like, as an IGL, still okay. Is Wrinkle IGL? No. What? No. Yeah, tabsen lands in the D tier for me. Okay, moving on. I'm going to get through some kind of like weird ones right now. nEMANHA is got a lot of controversy surrounding this guy. Okay, there is a lot going on with nEMANHA right now. nEMANHA is, as an individual player, no joke, one of the best players on this entire list. He's not playing at a level that would ever get him to the B tier. Like, Zero Tenacity is so far down the rankings that I would never put him in that same breath. But I'm going to just say right now, nEMANHA is C+, okay? If he's legit, and I say if nEMANHA is legit, he's definitely a C+ in-game leader, okay? I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to even get too deep into this. I've seen this guy individually have some insane games. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy surrounding him, which I will not delve into today. Moving on. Dexter, again, this is a bit of a redemption for Dexter. I'm going from the back because I think a lot of these players I have much less to say about, and I want to just kind of like save the best for last, okay? I want to save a lot of the best for last, and the move-ups and move-downs, I want to talk about those more later. Dexter is legitimately, with FlyQuest, I'm giving him the same benefit of the doubt that I gave tabsen. Let's think of the pieces between both of these rosters right now. FlyQuest and Big. Like, let's go band for band. Ints versus Crimbo, I'd say pretty equal. I think they're both very good. I think they're both very good players. tabsen versus Dexter, I actually think Dexter's had looks better as an individual than tabsen lately. Alistair versus Sursen, very similar. But then JDC versus Liaz. I actually think that JDC is better than Liaz right now. And I think Vexite versus Proces, really similar. Really similar overall. I know this is high, but like he's getting to play a lot of really like wonky competition, whereas Proces competes in Europe. So in 2024, the stats look a lot better, but if you put any filter on this, yeah. Like that, you guys maybe thought for a second there, holy shit, whoa. But then like you put this filter on and like that's what he's actually working with. And Proces actually still kind of holds his own as an entry fragger. He's not doing a great job, but he's doing a decent job. And I actually think like Dexter himself versus top opposition, he's like having to do a lot right now. It's not really clicking right now for Dexter against the best teams in the world, okay? So I think it's really fair to say right now that I know people wanted me to put Dexter in C. I actually don't think that's fair to kyxsan right now. I don't think that's fair to kyxsan. I'm going to put... In fact, actually, you know what? We're going to do this. No, I don't think that's fair to the... No, we're going to add a B+ here. Actually, I think this is better. I think this looks better. There. I think that's just nicer. That's just nicer. And then we're going to add B+. We're going to add B+, but I'm not going to put anybody in it just yet. Okay. Am I going soft? Chat, am I going soft? Yeah. I'm soft. I'm soft now. I'm too soft now. I'm getting soft. Is L list. Okay. Moving on. It's my list. I'm going to do what I want. Have kyxsan C and Dexter and tabsen in C-. I think the beginning of the season was good enough for Heroic that it made me feel like a C+ is necessary here. Okay. Fast back to cadiaN. In the start of the list, you told us that this list was the coach in mind. No wonder cadiaN is calling shit when... Yes! Hey! That's a great point, Elmer. That's a great point. That this is the combination of the coach and IGL. Combination. Combo. That's the combo right there. Okay? Let's move through some of the other people that I've just kind of been lightly impressed with. I think NPL is doing a solid job right now. I think that this is a great redemption arc from NPL that's happening right now with Bait. I've seen that Hedrick looks a little bit better. He looks pretty good. The pieces he has aren't necessarily great, but I'm not going to put him above that, okay? NPL is legit. He's looking way better now. So I'm just giving credit to NPL that he's even, like, doing decently right now. My GOAT analyst washed today. You think this is unfair? Do you think this is actually unfair, Heroic? Heroic, the social media account. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Wait a second. Actually, I want to see the Bobabinsky list with Heroic. Yeah, the problem with also Heroic here okay, let's, you want it, Heroic? Hey, Heroic, you're here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What are they doing with the pieces that they have right now? The CT sides of Heroic are at they're 49.5% win rate. The T sides are worse. So they're actually better on the CT side. The teams that are in the minus get some credit. They get some credit. But you also have to look at the maps that they play. So Heroic is even playing a lot of decent T side maps. 49.5% is the expected round win percentage for top 20 teams on the maps that Heroic play. They are winning 47.4. By literal averages, by the literal averages of the maps, they are performing beneath the averages of what they should be accomplishing on the maps that they're playing. Shouts out Bobabinsky again for this. So, if anything, I might be rating kyxsan too highly. In all honesty, I think actually now that I look at the numbers, you know what Heroic just did to kyxsan? Yeah. You did this, Heroic. You did this. You did that. I actually looked at it too much. I actually looked at it a bunch. Because I also said that I wanted kyxsan to start in the C tier. I'm going by the stats in my rubric of my internal workings. So I didn't even want to do that. But now I had to think about it. kyxsan should be celebrated. Nah, we'll keep him there. I saw some stuff in the beginning of the season. That was good. Okay. We've got an incredibly limited sample size for NiKo, guys. We have an incredibly limited sample size. We have a sample size that is so small that it is actually worth pitting his numbers at that event. I can compare the stats at this event. So let's look at how good were their CT sides? How good were their T sides? Were they all that special on that T side calling with NiKo? G2, 56%. This is where the suspense begins. If their T side is like a 60%, I will have no choice. I will have no choice. But if it is like a 45%, I will also have a big decision to make. 56%, chat. T side, 49. 49. That is a huge decrease. That is a huge decrease. That is a big time L in terms of how their T sides went. And they played a lot of Anubis. They played Inferno, they played 3 maps, Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Anubis, T-sided. Dust 2, T-sided. Ancient, T-sided. Inferno, T-sided. They're by all intents and purposes, they're probably supposed to have like a really good. There's probably really supposed to have a great T-side at this tournament. The only map that's CT-sided is Nuke. So just eyeballing these numbers, they probably should have had like a not 55. By eyeballing these numbers, they probably should have had a 52% win rate on T-side, bare minimum, if we want to really talk like that. 53.1, The thing that's interesting is that they actually stayed steady versus all forms of opposition when they played better people. They didn't fall off. Their T-sides didn't fall off or really get significantly better versus bad competition at this tournament. That's kind of crazy. There's like 6 maps that are removed between top 50 and top 20 filter, and they had the same T-side. So that's kind of interesting. But guys, I'm not head over heels for NiKo as an in-game leader, okay? I'm not head over heels for it. I just lumped in NiKo with G2. It's a pain in the ass to do every team because you have to do... Yeah, okay. He won the event that he played, okay? He won the event that he played, though, so that deserves credit. Also, part of in-game leading is your own individual ability. It is. That's why, like, is HooXi a good caller? He's an alright caller. He's an alright caller. I'm not over the moon for HooXi's calling. I'm not going crazy about HooXi's calling. NiKo kind of called it a very similar level. I'm just gonna put this. NiKo is in the B tier of in-game leaders. He won a whole ass tournament and played very well. He won a whole tournament in his limited sample size. That gets a B. That gets a B at least, guys. That gets a B. If you win the tournament... So here's Bleed. 50.3% round win percentage overall. CT side, 51.4%. So that means T side's probably 49%. 49.2%. But let's see the spread of maps they play. Are they playing a lot of Anubis? They're playing a lot of Ancient, so that's kind of like a 50-50 one. They are playing a good amount of Anubis. They are playing a lot of Inferno. These are the 3 most T-sided maps right now. Oh, actually, wait a second. I didn't do top 50 stats. Because now we have to think about this a little differently. Top 50 stats for the year 2024. So Anubis still very T-sided. Actually, Ancient CT-sided in this area. But they don't play a lot of Dust 2. They don't play any Dust 2. They play a bit of Inferno, slightly T-sided. They play... And then all the other maps are... They don't play Vertigo very much, which is also very T-sided. So, kind of eyeballing this, for their 4 most played maps to be Ancient, Anubis, Inferno, Mirage... That's a Ancient 50-50. In fact, they almost kind of fall to the percentages if you just take their percentages on Ancient to everything they do. But then Anubis probably should have a better T-side. Inferno probably should have a lightly better T-side. Mirage, actually, that probably takes it down a notch. It's kind of interesting. Like, their numbers almost fall exactly where you think they should. So now it kind of is like, what have I seen? It's not top 50? Wait, what? Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. Oh, it reset. Oh, my God. But then it's kind of like the same, kind of like this. That's pretty similar with Anubis just being even more T-sided. But then Nuke becomes so CT-sided. Yeah, so I'm not getting a strong read on this. So this is going to be off the eye test, guys. This is going to be like, what have I seen from Bleed? What have I thought about their T-sides? I feel like you have some pretty interesting tools when you're Hampus, but you have some guys that are specialists. You have Cypher, who literally just wants to run in as fast as humanly possible every single round, and then just give his life away. He's gotten better at it. Then you have Jacom, who's like a really more careful and more diligent space taker. You have Hampus himself, who's kind of like doing something tricky all the time, but he's also putting the whole picture together. You have Nock, who I really never rated his rifle that highly, so I don't really know how well he would really be how good he'd be as an asset. Like, you'd love to set him up in a post plant with an op, because then he's just gonna lock it down. And then you have Favin, who's like been pretty bad. Like, Favin's been kind of bad this year, guys. I don't know if people have really been paying attention to this, but Favin has really not delivered for them as an individual. I think he's playing the worst roles, and I'd love to hear what Kassad has to say about Favin. Oops. Oh, wrong year. But this has been Favin, and this is also, if you put top 50, like, it's been like pretty underwhelming. And Cypher's been good. Okay, wow, really? Wow, that's pretty impressive. Okay, either way. I feel like right now, it's weird because I think that the first iteration of Bleed, actually, I really didn't have the highest of expectations with Cirque and with the revolving fifth. Like, Vladin was their guy briefly. You know, I'm gonna just slot him right here above NPL. But as an individual, I think he's the level of competition that Hampus gets to play against is totally different. Like, Dexter gets qualified to these big events and then they do okay, but Bleed doesn't have the opportunities yet. I feel like for the season so far, they both just get C grades for the pieces that they have and how they're performing. Like, FlyQuest got into the top 20, guys. Guys, they got into the top 20 with Alistair. Okay, like, come on. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to linger on that too long. Woro2k, I actually think Monte's really fallen off a cliff. Like, the problem with this is that, like, Woro is a pretty good piece, and I wouldn't even mind seeing a different type of team built around him, but the way that Monte is constructing their roster right now is like, dude, they're just barely scraping shit together. It's really... like, this brings me no joy to think about Monte now, because they just have been, like, working through the most random pieces. Their CT side is a 49.9%, and it's a 48.3%. That's like, geez, this C tier might just be infinitely big right now. Like, I don't really differentiate. Like, Monte is not giving... Dude, they're giving the most random shit to work with. They're just giving the most random things to work with. I'm just putting him at the bottom of C tier right now. I don't see a case for him being... I was honestly thinking I would make a D+ one for him right now, but he's just too good as an individual. Device is really interesting. By the way, Bob Babinski, when you did... So the problem with Device is that you actually don't... I can't think about top the whole year. I think it's more like I have to create the dates, actually. So I'm going to go back to top 20 filter. I'm going to actually... So when did Device take over as the in-game leader? Because that's what I have to grade them on, as opposed to the whole year. So he became the IGL after this. So I think Chengdu was their first event. So when was the first match at Chengdu? It was... Okay, I'm not counting what you did against Steel Helmet. I'm doing 4-9 and on. 4-9 and on. I'm not counting that. That doesn't count. You don't get that. You don't get that game versus Steel Helmet. Yeah, we deleted that one. Okay, so this is what he did. As an individual player while in-game leading, Device is right now the best. There is no individual player that is performing as well as Device's wall calling. That's insane. NiKo? You're right. You guys are kind of right. I think NiKo at that event probably did pretty well. All right. You're right. Okay. It was one event and he did have a good rating at it. Okay. You guys are right. Fine. If you are a fragging in-game later and you are that good, you are bare minimum here. This is not the final position for him. That's not the final position. But it's like, how much more can you up? Because you're already, you're caring. You're just caring. Unless the calling is like absolutely horrendous, which it's not. Which it is not. So let's look back at some of these charts, okay? So here's the CTVT chart. So Astralis right now are performing practically as well on CT side as they are on T side, which is good. Let me just really get into Astralis here. Or else I'm going to take way too long on this. I have a haircut to get in like a few hours too. So I called them. They said yes, and then we'll see. Okay, not going to delve into my haircut scheduling. Astralis, they are a little bit better. For the expected round win percentage with Astralis, they are actually performing better by a significant margin, actually, by a decent margin than what is expected of them on the maps that they play. So I'm actually, and this is the combination, okay? Is Device on his own this level of in-game leader? I don't know. But does he deserve a strong spot? A strong spot. I think he's A tier. He's A tier. He doesn't have anybody, like, nobody's really that strong of an individual player now other than himself. He's actually A tier. Yeah. Wow. You know, I both love and hate when I have moments of discovery while I make these tier lists. He is A tier. He's actually A tier. He's actually A tier for the... the thing is that we need to keep in mind is that for NiKo and Device, the sample size is much smaller. The sample size is much smaller than some of these other guys who have been doing the whole year. Like, look at... Okay, so look at the stats of his players against... Oh, we should do a top 30. My bad. I should have done that earlier. Let's do even top. I've been doing top 20 for a lot of stuff, actually. So 1.2. Actually, Stown would be a top. Okay, the thing is that's so weird is that, okay, I was thinking of my top 20 list, which didn't include anybody, but that's because I did the whole year, which was pre-device. Okay, he actually does have good pieces. He actually does have good pieces based off of this time period. Actually, he has insane pieces. Okay, he actually has incredible pieces now that I really see this. Let me see this again. So also the Astralis stuff, I need to actually redo this list, actually. I need to redo the top teams list from that exact time period. So 424 on. So 424 till today. And we need to look at top 20 FTU CTT. Okay, here's where we're going to figure it out because actually this list was just based off of the entire year. These lists were based off of the entire year. So that's kind of messed up. Okay, so these numbers aren't accurate. So 50.5 and then T-side... Oh my god, I'm actually worried. 52.4. So they're actually better at T-side. What the hell? I think B+ is fair. I think B+ is really fair right now. Oh, the sample size is so small. I want to do A, but I think... Actually, you know what? There. I'm penalizing the sample size. If he did it for the whole season at that level, I'd put him in A. There. I became a sample size Andy. I'm a sample size Andy for just rating device right now. Okay, sample size Andy puts device in the B+ tier of in-game leaders for this. Nafany, bet boom. It's very weird because I think like there's a bet boom with Magnajez and there's a bet boom without Magnajez. So I kind of actually want to bring this up again, and I know that this will slow things down a little bit. But when did they get Magnajez? Because that's kind of how I want to rate them more off of that. So, Bet Boom, they got him here. So, the first game was 321. So, let's do this. 321 to today. So, Bet Boom, they are 48%. So versus T-side, they are 49%. So, it actually increases by a little bit. I think Bob Babinski did not have Bet Boom on the list. This is for the whole year. It was way better, but... Let's do this. So top 30 filter. It's okay. I'm going to say this, guys. Nafany is not F tier. Nafany is not F tier. I am going to put Nafany right next to Woro. Alex from NIP. So NIP Alex. Let's see NIP. So I had them pretty bad at the beginning of this year. Let's see when they got their new roster finalized. Let's see. So the roster with Isaac started 1 month ago. I'm not really gonna. I can't use that. That's too limited of a sample size. That's way too. This is. I can't do that again. 516. No way. Oh god damn it, dude. So top teams. 516. I'll just look at it. I think okay. From the before I even look at this stuff, guys, I would just put NIP. Alex in the C+ tier for me. He's in the C+ tier for me, but let's just see what these numbers show. So CT side, so where's NIP? So they're 53% win rate. CT side, they are 52, and T side, 53.8. So, and the pieces that he has, comparatively, what maps are they even playing? Let's see also that. They're playing a lot of Ancient, which is very 50-50. They're playing a lot of Vertigo lately, but they're not abusing Anubis and Inferno that much. Ancient is very, very even at this. Yeah, C+. He's C+ for me now. He's at bottom of C+ because he had such a bad start to the year. I think that by the end of the year... Okay, this looks stupid. I'm not actually putting nEMANHA there. Okay, nEMANHA is not a better IGL than Alex. Okay. All right, there we go. That's true. No, the head-to-head does matter. That does matter, Bobovinsky. That's why Dexter is better than... Okay, we're really putting nEMANHA there? We're doing that. For now. Okay. Do one of the IGLs next. Has nEMANHA ever played any game versus top 30? That's a great question. But he beat Bleed. We're just putting him there. Okay, we're doing this. We're doing that. That's how I see it. That's how I actually see it now. Dude, Dexter is like right here for me. He's like this. He's in between C and C+. I don't see him on the same level where Exit, MIBR. Dude, he kind of is just in that wonky C tier. I'm going to put him like right behind Hampus. We're going to do that. This is going to piss Kasad off so much when he sees nEMANHA better than hampus. He's going to get so mad. And that's lightly why I'm doing it. Okay. Fallen. Dude, see, the problem with Furia getting Kai is that I can't even rate Fallen as clearly now because he was playing with the worst player in the top of all top 30 teams. If you look at this, guys, if you do this and you go back 2 weeks when Kai is still on Furia, if you open all of these, open every single one, look at every single player. Every single player. Nobody worse than Kai. Nobody worse than... Nope. 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 Maybe. Nope. 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 No. Roman. At least he can clutch. So no. Nope. And nope. So the whole thing is that, like, for Furia, they had the worst player of anybody in the top 30. They had the worst player. Outright. They had the worst player. So I can't really... I almost feel it's like, how do I even rate them, you know? How do I even rate them when they had practically just a bot? Like, I can't... Where's Furia on this? They performed exactly to expectation, or basically 50-50 on this. This is dead center. I'm going to do this. I think Fallen is in the C tier right now. I don't really rate him higher than Exit, though. And I actually don't rate her higher. I think nafany is better right now. Actually, I'm going to do bottom of C tier. I just can't rate him that well. I just can't rate him that well right now. I think Woro's a better opper. So I'll just put him higher, I guess. And because it is in game leader. Okay. Let's do some other people. MUTiRiS for Saw. Dude, he just kind of like had a good start to the year, but then he really fell off. Like, they looked pretty pedestrian for the rest of the year. I think this good start to the year is enough for me to, because they qualified for the major. So I'm going to put him above some people that didn't, but not. So I'm going to put him like here. I'm going to put MUTiRiS at the top of C tier, actually. I'm going to put MUTiRiS top of C tier. He has Roman on his team, but he has some decent pieces. I actually think he's an okay player overall. In fact, I think at the beginning of the year, I would have had him above Alex. I think Alex has shown a lot lately. This is 2024 so far with some recency bias, obviously. And then we'll just look at MUTiRiS. Like, this is going to look better. Yeah. 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 Like, MUTiRiS is definitely above dexter. I'm actually going to... I think C tier for the year. I think for the pieces he has, he's doing actually what he should. He's lightly outperforming expectation with the pieces he has. Snax. Ooh, made it to the major by virtue of a disqualification. Actually got to the next stage at the major though, so that was nice of them. That proves some stuff. They did change pieces. They did change pieces, guys. So I am aware of that. But let's just see what this looks like. CT side. Gamer Legion 53.9%. They had a very bad one. They had very bad. Actually, you know what? I think he's even lower. They're the worst. I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot. I actually forgot. Because I actually made this list yesterday, and I totally forgot that the delta was... not the total. The delta was the worst next to Liquid. He had a good major, and I value that so highly. No. Okay. No. He gets D tier because at least they won some games at the major and got to the second stage of it, okay? They have the worst CT side to D to... Okay, so basically, look at this, guys. When you look at top 30 teams in 2024, CT side to T side. CT side of Gamer Legion, respectable, 53.9%. T side, 43. They go down by 10%. No one is even that bad. No one's that bad. 52.5 for Liquid, for example. And when you go to T side, it's 40. It's not even that bad. When you look at Gamer Legion, it's the worst T side in all of tier 1. if you want to call it tier 1. And this is unfortunately, and do they permaban Anubis? Let me see what their maps are. They were playing Overpass. Okay, that's actually going to help your case. But Vertigo's T-sided. They actually do not play the T-sided maps. They don't play Anubis and Dust 2 and Inferno. Okay, let's take Overpass out of this. Let's take Overpass out of the equation because they did play the most CT-sided map all the time. Let's do this. Ancient, Anubis, Dust 2, Inferno, Mirage. Because every other map counts now. Okay, let's be a little more fair to Snax. CT side, 50.7%. T side, it's still the worst. It's still the worst. It's still the worst. It's still the worst T side. This is actually worse. They actually are actually, Overpass made this look better. So that's not good. That's not good at all, guys. This hurts his case. It hurts his case to escape D tier. Oh my god. Objection. Okay. VINI, Imperial had a decent, they look good at the major. I don't think that he's going to escape the C tier for this kind of stuff, guys. So let's just look at it here. Let's do the same thing. So Imperial here, they're 48.7% on CT side, T side, 47 point. That's just like, he's a C tier. Yeah, he didn't escape the C tier on either side. I'm going to put him beneath, I'm going to put him actually above Fallen because I actually feel like Imperial season some ways more impressive. I'm actually just going to get Boomich out of the way. I'm going to tell you all right now that I don't think the circumstances of Boomich are really fair. And if you watch my previous IGL tier list, I am not going to rate him because basically that was the IGL tier list I made before was for the first 3 months of the season. And now for the final 3 months, there's nothing to say. There's just nothing to say. I had him as A+ before, but I had a wide A+ and I had a small S tier. Now I'm making a more reasonable bell curve with my tier list where there aren't going to be very many people. Like C and C+ are going to occupy the majority of this. And then there's going to be very few A+ and very few F. Now, Snappi. Snappy's a really interesting one because a lot of people think that Falcons are doing terribly right now, and that's Snappy's fault. I want to show you guys statistically that it's not just Snappy's fault, okay? Let's look at 2024. Let's look at the CT sides. The CT, and the reason I do this once again is that the CT side generally indicates some level of individual play, which, because you cannot just, generally speaking, there are moments when teams group up, but a lot of it comes down to individuals on opposite sides of the maps that have to multi-frag themselves out of situations or buy time for teamwork. The CT sides of Falcons are abysmal. They are absolutely disgustingly bad. 41.9%. Just terrible. Just god-awful, okay? The T sides are bad. They are not that bad. They are 48.6%. The calling on Falcons is not that bad. It is the fact that on CT side, I see their players fail to get the kills they're supposed to, and flat out, they just don't. I feel like they're not. Are they multi-killing anybody? They're actually I don't know where this happens. Actually, why are they just the worst 5v4 team of all time? Either way, on CT side, they're just bad. They're really bad, and I blame that more down to kind of like a philosophy for the team more than just the pure calling and IGLing of Snappi. Snappi has not been good as an individual either. That being said, a lot of people are like, why isn't Dexter higher? Why isn't Dexter higher? Let's just do this. Let's just do this again for those in the back. For the people in the back that didn't see. Wow. Dexter should be like an A tier in-game leader. Oh, wait. Let's do this again. Snappi. Snappi. For 2024, it's like the same rating as Dexter, and he's practically only playing top 30. They have the same numbers. They have like the same. I would rather have Dexter because I prioritize. I think ADR is more important than surviving. But You're not going to look me dead in the eye and say that like one of those players is way better than the other. Snappi has actually been a low C tier IGL. I'm putting him above nafany because I can. Okay, moving on. HooXi. HooXi is another player that the delta of the team is lightly concerning. So the maps that Falcons played are, by the way, minus 1.6. So that's not great. It's not as bad as some of these other people, but G2 are also, they're barely positive. They're winning 51.5% of their T-side rounds on maps that should be, they pick the most T-sided maps in the pool behind 9Z. 9Z pick the most T-sided maps, period. G2 pick the second most of the top 15 teams. And in terms of the delta between CTT, G2 is actually doing lightly better on their T side than they are their CT side. That being said, as an individual player, HooXi's going to have similar numbers. I think he's going to actually have better numbers than... who's going to have better numbers, Dexter or HooXi versus top 30 in 2024? Actually has better numbers. Rating-wise. The ADR is so low, though. The ADR is crazy low. I like, people thought last time that I made this list that for some reason HooXi deserved to be like way up. I'm going to actually change this list. Last time around, I had HooXi as the dead C guy. I actually think now, as it stands, I have reason to believe that he's C+. I think C+ is, but he's been, the last event was so bad. But I don't hold that against Monacy, and I won't hold that against HooXi either. So G2 are doing worse by expected performance on T side compared to CT. Yeah. So in the conversation of HooXi versus NiKo, I mean, NiKo's just such a better player, and you're not losing that much in terms of the calling that it's not really... Is this really... Here, let's just do this. Let's just do this, guys. G2. It's not... Let's do all maps. So let's do this. For events. For IM Dallas. So let's get this. So for top 30 for the year versus... And we're going to get IM Dallas's stats. It's obviously not a great sample size, okay? Like, in before sample size, Andes tell me anything. But you have to... But the whole point of looking at this stuff is that you make claims based off of the information you have, okay? So 52.4% CT side. So at IM Dallas, this is for the year. For the year, top 30 filter, 2024, 52.4% CT side. On Dallas, 56%. So their CT sides got better. 49% on that, and so their T sides are 52. So their numbers overall, the difference is 52.4 to... They become a balanced team to a great CT. They became a great CT team without HooXi and a pretty meddling T side team. But if we're including individual performance, which is part of the job of being an in-game leader, which we... Yeah. So NiKo was in a tournament that he was calling and won, a 1.19 in rated player. So he's contributing in such a massive factor in the game, which is two of the words in in-game leader. C column. What? So what is this? T round win percentage. So we have G2 winning 51.5% of their T-side rounds. Can you write out the top, like, and then their expected T-round win percent? So, yeah, they're plus 0.8% or 0.7%. I guess this rounds. Okay, yeah, I guess this rounds to 0.7. And then the CT, they're actually better on CT side. Okay, you're saying the margin is better. I don't... So they're... So the numbers here are like the The best team here have like such a huge edge on their CT side, is what I'm getting. The highest percentages here are the ones that have edges on their CT side. Yeah, okay. So these are the teams that have edges on their CT side, and these are the teams that have edges on their T side. Yeah. Is HooXi the Kai of IGLs? No, that's too bad. That's expected CT side win rate, expected to C side. Yeah, they're relatively. These maps are inflated by games against BetBoom and Liquid. Lol, BetBoom doesn't. He'd be a good coach. Just get out of the server. HooXi is the best player of this year, and he hasn't won a tournament with him. Yeah, and that's going to count against him. So the thing is for A plus versus A, that there are some great IGLs that are going to be an A. There's some great IGLs, but it's just that A plus means you, in terms of like that's where you separate yourself in terms of winningness. Okay, so yeah, I'm comfortable putting HooXi in the C plus tier. I'll put him above MUTiRiS. No, the pieces that HooXi has, if like you gave them to basically this, if you gave HooXi, if you gave these teams HooXi's pieces, these IGLs, you would expect that they would do as good, if not better. Does that seem right? Does that seem right? Sin is the weird one here. But I think the season they had was really good. And also they were marred by the fact that they had to... I mean, Sin also didn't really play for the major with them. He became an IGL after the major. Okay. So, I think this is fine right now. Okay, moving on. Glaive, Ents, man, they took a turn for the worse. Their T-sides are still all right, but they had some weird moments. Okay, we're going to go to Ents. Ents here. Ents. My God. 45.6%. T-side, I think it's going to be reasonable. 48.5%. So they're up 3% on their T-sides. And Glaive as an individual... So maps, though. What are they playing? Nuke, Ancient, Vertigo, they're not abusing Anubis and Dust 2 yet. And, yeah. So they're not abusing those maps, which give you huge... That's not bad. That's not that bad. The Bleaky. The Bleak.
Can't believe I am not on this list.
Bleak. I wonder that, too. You should pay me to play main again. But let me play with all my friends. I don't know what you would do, but you would pay us. Thank you so much, Bleak, for the sub, though. You're 3 months. You're my new best friend. Thank you. This is pretty good for an in-game leader. That's pretty good. I'm actually going to put... So, the thing is that Glaive, yeah, collapsed at the major. Didn't do that, top 4 at Yangshiping. They kind of had to swap in players at certain times. Let's do LAN. The thing is, they're not all playing LAN stuff all the time. This is bad. And the way they lost at the major was bad. That was surprising. But Yala was the first time they were playing with a new lineup. And then Yangshiping, they still beat some people, but they beat Complexity and MIBR. That's pretty impressive. I'm kind of right here. Okay, this is what I want to say about Glaive. The pieces that he was working with are sad. And I actually think that, for me right now, Glaive is slightly better than MUTiRiS. I'm going to do that. For 2024 season, I'm going to put Glaive in the C+ tier. I don't have him as strong as Alex. I think NIP is doing quite a bit right now with what they've got. And I think Alex is responsible for that, even though the first half was bad for him. But Glaive made playoffs of Kato. He made it to the major. I'm going to put Glaive a little bit above Alex there. I'm going to put him above. I'm going to do that. I think that's very fair to Glaive. I think that's fair. I legit started lifting weights to offset all this beta male stats talk. For fuck's sake, this dream is snooze fest. Watch a demo or something. For real. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. Let's mix this around. I'm going to do these people in this order. Okay, that's the order I'm going to go in. Okay, let's hurry this up. biguzera, very impressive as an individual. Doesn't seem like Pain has actually really like done anything or carried any of that momentum after the major. They did do well at that Get Rio event, so I'm gonna actually put biguzera because he's a great individual player. I'm gonna put him at B tier. Very surprising as an individual, which is part of in-game leading. Their T-sides aren't necessarily fantastic, and a lot of it hinges on him doing well, but in big moments, he's done well. Actually, really, I don't think overall the calling is that sick, though. And he's kind of like, I think this might be the fairest, but let me see. Let's consult some stuff. Nope, not there. So Pain. I don't even think I put them on this. Oh, here. Pain. So their delta is actually kind of bad. It's actually kind of bad. They actually are worse on T side than they are CT side. But let's see the maps that they play. Pain. Let's make sure they're not playing just like the easy maps for T-side calling. Whoops, not pictures. What? Stats. So they play, actually it looks like they're playing a lot of the easy maps. So this might be bad for them. And also let's put this rating filter. They play a lot of Nuke, but then they play a lot of Anubis, Vertigo, Inferno, Mirage. They're not, So they do play a lot of Anubis, but Nuke is CT-sided. So not really, I'm not really like going out and being like, oh, this is so... Like this is not damning. This isn't damning, nor is it really like a big positive for them. This is kind of like pretty. I would expect them to have a pretty middle percentage. How is there? I know, for real. We should get a 9-10 one. Okay, so whatever. Let's just move on. Let's move on from that. I'm gonna put him right there, C+. Okay, next, bLitz. I think bLitz is really good as an individual. I'm gonna put him at the top of C+ right now. The problem is that the T sides aren't that good overall. It's that they're winning on CT sides, and he actually has some good players. So at this point, I think Mongols in general are getting really, really, really... Okay, we're putting him B. We're putting him B. Yeah, we're putting bLitz in B. Yeah. I think they're getting overrated really hard right now, but I don't think they're... Like, he's still good. Still a good in-game leader. We're putting him above Sin. Okay, we're putting him... Have to have him above Sin. There we go. He's above Sin. Yeah. Individually, really strong player. You know, he had a... Oh, for his one S-tier trophy this year, he had 9-10 pop off, I guess. So, that seemed like a big boost that they needed in order to get themselves over the hump. But then you look at their delta on some of this stuff, and the Mongols... They actually are they're not winning as many T-side rounds as they're supposed to. They're actually not. They're actually and then they are... So then they also let's see, T-side, CT T-side, they actually have one of the worst deltas overall. So they're actually, but bLitz is so good as an individual player, and I'm going to keep him B. Gonna keep him B. It's kind of like Chopper gets a, like, the delta isn't everything. Like if the delta were everything, then Chopper should not, well, that's why Chopper's not S tier. And the delta is also why bLitz isn't like A or B plus tier. Like, I kind of want to put bLitz here, but it's not even actually the T sides that they're winning on. It's actually the CT sides. Look at this delta. What the fuck is happening? I'll take that astrology nonsense over this. Mongols beat Bleed, though. That's S tier stuff. I don't know about that. They won an S tier event that deserves an A. That wasn't like a... Okay, you know what? B plus, there we go. Actually, it does feel like B plus. It does feel like B plus. They did win a decent trophy. They beat Astralis, and they beat NIP. Yeah, that looks more right. That looks more correct. I'll say that. That looks more correct. There. That actually... kind of between these two. Whatever. It's the same tier. Same tier. So they did play a lot of Overpass. Actually, let's see what they were like in 2024. Top 30 filter on maps they played. So they played some Overpass, Mirage, Nuke, Ancient. So they don't even play really Anubis. Oh. Okay. Okay. They don't even spam Anubis and Dust like everybody. So we put bLitz above Device. Yeah, he won the head-to-head. That's why he gets above him. Okay, MIBR, they actually have good T sides. I know that a lot of it is spurred by the fact that they have Xantares, but he's still they won CCT, another S tier event apparently. They won another S tier event as did the Mongols, but it was actually a LAN for an S tier LAN. And then they won that. Xantares was really good. They have good T sides. They actually have good T sides. MIBR is the top of B tier for me. I'm gonna show you guys. So Eternal Fire. So they have a really good delta. They have 51% CT, 53.3% on T, and then if you actually look at their maps, what do they spam? What are they spamming? They're spamming Anubis. So maps. So they're not spamming Anubis. They're actually playing Nuke, Vertigo, Inferno. Again, like pretty even, these three maps. And then Anubis is 4th, Mirage is 11th, Overpass was 9th. If we actually, I mean, the fact that Overpass is there at all, like if we take out, I know we don't need to take out anything. But yeah, that's a pretty tough, these are pretty tough T-side maps. Also, their Nuke T-side is good. Their Nuke T-side is good. Look at this. Look at this. 11-1 against Bet Boom on T-side. I'm putting him B. Yeah, and if you took out Donk out of Spirit and you gave them, if you gave them Danis, I think Chopper would be like B. Versus Bot Boom. True. Yeah, but that's why he's just B. Guys, he's just a B tier. Like, you guys are acting like, I mean, I'm not putting him in A or A plus or anything like that. Like, he's just B. He's a B tier IGL. Okay, let's move on. karrigan. Now it gets interesting, guys. Now it really gets interesting. karrigan as an in-game leader, there's a strong case right now that karrigan is the greatest of all time in-game leader. He's right there with Glaive. They're right there. But his only event win has been Chengdu. Rops looks more lost than ever. They choked at the major in the grand finals. He choked at the major in the grand finals. He lost in a convincing fashion to Spirit in the grand finals of Katowice. karrigan for this season is beneath the A+ tier. karrigan is in the A tier for 2024 thus far. He is not in the A+ tier. And I think he knows that. I think he knows that too. I think that his season fell short of expectations when you have a lineup as he does. When you have Frozen, Brokey, supposedly big stage player in Rain, you know, one of the great lurker anchors in Rops. Well, Rops doesn't always play anchor spots. You should have won something more than Chengdu, and you had opportunities to do it. But then also what's kind of sad is that I almost feel like because of FaZe's start in CS2, I don't want to conflate that with how this year has gone for karrigan. First of all, statistically, not very strong. We're weaker than Chopper and weaker than Aleksib, actually. So if we look at the events for this year, 5th to 8th after at ESL Pro League, 5th to 6th at Dallas, 5th to 6th at the spring final. Like, I count those events too. Not as strongly, but he won, we're ignoring this, Chengdu. He came in second here. He came in second in the 2 prestige events of the year so far, and he won 1 trophy, which I would say of like the S tier titles is just above Yala Compass. Just above Yala Compass. I think Dallas was more important, and I think the spring final was more important. And he did not do well individually, nor was the team doing that well. If we look at round win percentage and stuff like that for, let's look at the delta here. So for FaZe, they are better on their CT side than their T side now. They're better than CT and T. And when we adjust this for the maps that they play, we can see that FaZe, they are, their round win percentage is a little bit better. It is a little bit better than what is expected of them because they aren't just spamming all the most T-sided maps. So it's not bad. And it's still an A tier IGL. It's still an A tier IGL. But Not quite A+ for me yet for this year. And now Apex. Apex, what's really, really surprising is that for the Delta, so Apex himself as an individual has been playing pretty decently in CS2. It's actually been quite good for an IGL. Quite good for an IGL. So we look at 2024, 1.00 rating, but then we look at the events. Like dead last at Kato. Knocked out by FaZe at this. But I will say, like, the thing about losing this for Vitality and Apex is that, why is this even here? Is this a LAN? What was this? Damn it, it shows up in LAN? Okay, let's just do top 30. Okay, there we go. Okay. So that's better. Okay, so they're playing good enough teams often enough that yeah. So Katowice dead last. Major top 4. Pro League grand finals, but lost in the grand finals. Dallas, this was the big one. This was the one where you really should have won. You really should have won here. And I kind of can't even. The thing is about Apex, guys, is I think Apex is actually quite good. I want to show you some stats that really back that up too. The delta for Vitality is insane. For their CT versus T, they are winning 51.7% of their T-side rounds. They win 56% of their T-side rounds. By stats alone, by round win percentage alone, they are the best T-side team in the world. They are the best T-side team in the world, guys. I'm not counting MIBR. I'm not counting that. No, last 3 months for them has been insane. So looking, and yeah, okay, so expected T round win percentage for Vitality, 50.6%. They win 56%. Yes, they are playing some of the more T-sided maps, but you know who's playing even more than them? G2. And G2 only wins 51%. So per the maps that these two teams are playing, Vitality is blowing G2 out of the water, and you would say that G2 has better pieces as individuals. ZywOo is worse than m0NESY, and Spinx or Flames is worse than NiKo. Okay? So I'm going to say right now, guys, like, without a trophy this year, I cannot put Apex in the A+ tier. I cannot put him also in the A tier. I could not put him in the A. To get into the A tier, you need a real trophy for my money. A real trophy. And Apex does not have that. But he is absolutely at the top of B+ tier. And the big moments where we judge players the harshest, unfortunately, they came up short. And the thing is, you might say, like, well, what about, like, Chengdu's not that important. So that's, but the thing is that, like, Chengdu for FaZe, let's do this. First of all, karrigan made it to the grand finals of the 2 prestige events of the year. Second off, FaZe beat Maus, like an arguable top team of the season. Like, they had a really good season for themselves. They also, well, they beat Astralis and they beat Liquid. I don't know. I don't count the Liquid ones, whatever, really. But I am very confidently putting Apex in the B+ tier right now. I'm putting him in the B+ tier. I'm even putting him above bLitz, who won a LAN. Vita have 3 top 10 players on T-side. They have insane T-side multi-kill percentage. Apex isn't calling for multi-kills to happen. Apex just below karrigan. There's no way nafany is C tier. Literally, look at his individual stats and really how bad they are. There. Okay. That's true. He has, like, the worst land stats by far. Okay. siuhy, Jame, and JT. siuhy, Jame, JT. siuhy, he won ESL Pro League over Apex. He crashed out 5th through 8th at the major. Every arena event, he's way worse. Way worse. Him and his team are way worse. The thing is that, so they won ESL Pro League, they won Bet Boom Dasha, they came top 8 here, they came second Chengdu. Dallas did kind of badly. What'd they do here? Where are they? 9th to 12th. What even happened to them at Dallas? I don't even really remember their story at Dallas. They lost to G2. Oh yeah, because they got beat by 9Z. They got beat by 9Z in the first round. They got beat by 9Z in that opening game. Where is it? Right here. Right here. They lost to 9Z. That being said, he won ESL Pro League. He beat Spirit in a BO5 on LAN. Like, the studio portion has evaded siuhy. And let's look at some of these numbers, okay, just to be a little more. So Maus, though, the thing is that they are actually really good at CT side, and then their T side does fall off a bit, but let's see what that is compared to. So their CT side is 54.9, their T side 53.2. They're 1.7% better on CT than T. So, but then look at the maps that they play. So their expected map, so they actually play, their T side round win percentage is 54.2%. Wait, what? Why is that so different than mine? And they are playing the hard maps. They're playing the hard maps. They don't play Anubis. They don't play Anubis, and that is a huge boost to some of these other teams that are passing by with these better T-side win percentages. They don't play Anubis. That is their veto. That's their veto. Okay? They're carried by Brolin. Brolin is like one of the biggest arena fall-offs of any player this season. So siuhy is occupying the A tier. I am putting him beneath karrigan because karrigan has shown more in big arena moments, even though you might say the quality of counterstrike that Maus play when they're at their peak is better, but part of being a leader is doing it in big stages, and all three of these guys have shown better big stage composure than siuhy and Maus. There we go. There it is. There it is. Okay. Now, Jame. Kind of a weird season for him thus far. VP definitely have not had the results that you would have wanted. In terms of calling, this was a tier list from 2 years ago, Jame would purely be S tier in 2022. Winning the Rio Major, huge victory for him. But for 2024, thus far, I think of VP and what they've done. They made top 4 at the Blast Spring Finals. They had to replace Mirror because they were a single glitch away from doing this to HooXi, from slapping him down to C tier, and they were a single NVIDIA glitch away from Jame securing top 8 finish at the major, which would have probably secured him at least top of B tier. There was a little bit of a redemption arc there at the Blast Spring Finals, and so here, let's go back to this. Right now, off the top of my head, I want to put Jame at the very top of B tier. I want to put him right here above MIBR and right beneath Device. I want to put him right there. But let's see what some of the numbers hold for us here. Okay, so Virtus Pro, they are doing exceptionally better at T sides. Exceptionally better. Look at this. Their CT side win rate goes from 46.8% to T side 52.2%. That's crazy. That's an insane boost on the T side. That's the second best boost behind Falcons, but they're not playing always to the same level as like a team like Vitality. That's insane. Now let's think about it compared to the round 1 percentage per map. VP though, they're winning 50.8%, but they are seemingly playing a lot of the more T-sided maps. If we look at they are 1.1%. So they're just playing a little bit above what you'd expect for the maps that they play. For the maps that they play, it's not as big of an increase, but I want to say he's doing that with pieces that are putting up these numbers on the CT side. With the CT side. I think that Bob Babinski used top 30 or top 20 or something filter, and I'm using a different filter. I think so yeah, that's the difference. That's the difference. They're not that different. So I'm just going to go through this again. Events for 2024. Whatever. What, man. Okay, let's just do land. Fine. Let's do land, because I'm not going to care about it. Okay, playing bombed out of it. Bombed out of it while playing well, by the way. And also, this was why they kicked this guy. No. Made it through 9th to 11th. And NVIDIA crash away, even with mirror, to making it that far. And Norbert was going crazy, by the way. But then none of the finishes are that impressive. Like, he's not going deep. There's definitely some disconnect between him and the way that the calling is working right now. I give Jame a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit for the successes of VP, and I don't always hold it against him for their failures, but I think now is where I finally started to actually change my mind on that slightly. Jame does need to be held responsible for some of the failures of VP in some of these games. I think that the problem is, like, okay, so let me see Jame himself as a player, because how well is he playing right now? I feel like my initial thought of where to put him is where I'm going to end up with this, but if these numbers are much different than I expect, they're pretty much what I expect. Yeah, these are pretty much what I expect. Yeah, this is not, it's not great, it's not bad. And for operas in general, I don't think that's actually that bad. Like, he has, I'm going to say one thing about Jame right now. The best player that's on his team, to me, for the year, has been Electronic. And Electronic barely made it. Barely made it onto my top 20 list. Like, he could have been replaced by a handful of different people. So the pieces that he's working with needs to be taken into account. He needs to be taken into account is that Jame is working with all of these pieces. Chopper has 3 people in the top 20. Aleksib has 2. Karrigan has at least 2. siuhy has like 4 pieces that are in the top 20. Apex has 3. 910 is the GOAT. Stown has been a top 20 player since Device started calling for him. Jame has Electronic, who has been performing quite poorly. And then the best piece, maybe like since Electronic joined, I would even say like Electronics has probably moved from supposedly supposed to be the best player on the team to now, like, he's like their 2nd or 3rd best. He's probably their 3rd best. Because bLitz better than him, and arguably Jame's better than him. And then Norbert's been bad. And then Fame, hit or miss for me. So, in terms of pieces, he's better than MIBR. Is he B+? I think he does. Yeah, he made it. Yeah, he made it. He made it to B+. He made it to B+ for me. Yeah. Yeah, he made it to B+. I think the only question is if he's better than Device. But Device has such a small sample size, which has been really impressive. The sample size for Device, actually, we were looking at it earlier. It's been really good. Like, the limited amount of time that he's been in-game leader, he's been a really good in-game leader. Actually, really solid in terms of T-side round win percentage. If you look at it actually like this, so I think we had the times on this. It was like 425. I'm just gonna do that to this. If we do top 30, CT side for Astralis is, where is it? 54.6%. For their T side, 53.2. Wait, is that right? What was the date that he picked it up? What was the actual date that he picked it up? Oh, it's earlier than that, my bad. It was earlier. Is that it? I should just check this. Okay, God, I'm slowing this down a lot. 4.9. Okay, 4.9. 4.9 to today. So CT side, this is what Device has been doing. 55.4 on CT, and then 55.3. Nah, Jame actually has a better T side. Okay, Jame has a better T side. All right, we're doing that. Okay, we're doing that. That seems fair. That seems right to me. Device has been the better individual, but Jame is getting more out of his T sides than Devices for his team. Wait a second. Let's do this again. Astralis. Oh, is this with the timing of... Ooh, he's actually getting a lot now, too. It's neck and neck for me. Oh, he's neck and neck. Damn it. 4-9? What does 4 out of 9 mean? Oh, for the date. That's 2024, not device since IGL. Oh. Then it's like really confusing then. Okay. Well then, the decider is the eye test, okay? The decider is the actual eye test. And the CT sides are horrendous for VP right now, but the T sides actually are pretty good. So I think Device also has better pieces to work with right now. So, and they're both accomplishing, actually, we'll just take recency bias into effect here. We'll take recency bias into effect. Fine. They beat them. They beat them. And they had a better T side on both maps. There. Done. Done. They beat them, and they have arguably worse players. That's why he fits there, okay? That's why he's there. Okay, now, JT, the final piece. The final piece. He won ESL Challenger Yongshiping. He has one of the 8 best players in the world on his team right now. JT himself has been fragging quite well for his role. The T sides of complexity do improve the team. You see this? Minus 3.3. They have a 45.5% CT side round win percentage. 48.8. Okay? Overall, for the maps that they play, they are a little bit better on T side than you would expect of them. And they're a little bit worse on CT side than you would expect of them. So, JT crashed out at the major. Didn't quite get it done. I know where JT's going. JT's going right here. He's right above Sin. What you will notice as this tier list is completed, I am not rating these people because I haven't seen them play for the last 3 months. I didn't watch any of these guys play for the last 3 months. Or if I did, it was like one game. There we go.